The air in this reclaimed substation hums with ozone, the stubborn heat of the war surplus transmitter making the metal glow. Hand-labeled vinyl spins on a borrowed deck, collecting dust like forgotten memories. Patched cables snake across the floor, connecting stories.
Black Star Pirate Radio.
Welcome, architects of the airwaves. Across Oranienzicht, the dial sits at 58 Fahrenheit under light rain. Wind check, northwest at 15 miles an hour. Tonight, we're tuning into the structural integrity of self-worth and civic consent. Our first signal from the deep asks about ownership. A plan to auction over 100 artifacts from the RMS Titanic now faces US government opposition. RMS Titanic Inc. still intends to sell these objects, despite prior agreements. A low, steady hum vibrates through the floorboards.
The tangible consequence here is a direct challenge to heritage preservation, exposing RMS Titanic Inc.'s commercial strategy against international conservation norms. We're talking about a court battle over approximately 5,500 recovered artifacts, including a bronze cherub from the Grand Staircase and a leather valise, potentially valued at hundreds of millions. An alternative path, before any sale, could be a court-ordered receivership, placing the collection under a neutral third party committed solely to preservation and public display. The U.S. government's current move is to block the auction legally.
100 fragments of history, personal belongings recovered from the Atlantic, are being treated as pure commodity, a toxic residue of ownership claims overshadowing the architectural signal of shared human tragedy. This sale impacts our collective memory, turning shared provenance into a market opportunity. Black Star Radio program always reminds us how living archives resist this kind of extraction and commodification.
The structural question here centers on what truly constitutes public trust when commercial entities hold exclusive salvage rights. While RMS Titanic Inc. holds those rights, prior accords with the U.S. government stipulated display, not market liquidation. We could design a new system, establish a global heritage trust funded by diverse nations and private donors to secure such artifacts for perpetual public access, making their acquisition by any single entity impossible.
A voice on the line wants to weigh in. Patching in a caller, the boundary keeper. You're on the signal.
So memory has a price tag now. Who decides if history is for sale or for all? Where's the proof of these prior agreements you're talking about?
Good question, boundary keeper. The U.S. District Court in Virginia oversees the salvage operation, and court documents, specifically the 2000 agreement with RMS Titanic Inc., explicitly state artifacts must be conserved and displayed for the benefit of humanity. That's the anchor. The chosen next move, from the US government's perspective, is to pursue a legal injunction seeking to block any sale and enforce the existing agreement.
Precisely. The U.S. government is actively seeking to amend the 2000 order to permanently prohibit the sale of any Titanic artifacts, ensuring they remain an intact collection for educational and scientific purposes. This legal pressure is the smallest testable move to protect public heritage.
This legal challenge, if successful, shifts the lineage of ownership from a commercial entity to global patrimony. The who carries it next becomes a collective of heritage advocates, international bodies like UNESCO, and the public, ensuring the dignity of those lost and the shared human story is prioritized over profit.
Pivoting from the deep, our next signal asks about political churn. Where did it all go wrong for Starmer? The UK has lost its sixth Prime Minister in a decade.
Keir Starmer won the 2024 general election with a significant majority, promising to repair 14 years of conservative damage. Yet, within 2 years, his approval ratings plummeted to 19% by mid-2026, making him the most disliked prime minister since modern polling began in 1937. His exposure came from a perceived lack of conviction, particularly after a series of U-turns on key manifesto pledges like nationalizing railways and ending university tuition fees, coupled with persistent economic stagnation post-Brexit. The chosen next move for the Labour Party is an urgent internal review of its core platform, focusing on tangible, deliverable policies.
The feed pushes us to find a single villain in Starmer, but this pattern of leadership failure reflects a deeper structural challenge within the UK political system. The toxic residue of broken promises obscures the architectural signal that national systems often resist rapid change without genuine public buy-in. An alternative path involves reprioritizing local civic engagement, perhaps through a lesson planner approach for community-led policy workshops before national policy is finalized.
A landslide victory followed by such a swift ousting reveals a deep fracture in civic expectation, highlighting a system that struggles to integrate diverse perspectives or metabolize political shifts without defaulting to blame. We need better architectures. Imagine a gig passport mesh system where policy proposals are prototyped and refined through micro-community feedback loops, building consent from the ground up and translating tension into playable, adaptable policy modules.
A caller is on the line, patching in the disillusioned citizen. What's your take?
So, is it just Starmer's fault, or is the whole system rigged against any long-term leadership? Who pays the cost when leaders keep failing so quickly?
Switching frequencies, next signal, stepping up, not aside. Japan's retirement age tour guides. That's the core of it, disillusioned citizen. It's less about individual blame and more about the architecture of consent. The cost is paid in eroded public trust and deeper civic cynicism. The chosen next move for the electorate, as proposed by Anansi and Kalin, involves demanding more direct avenues for input, moving beyond traditional party structures towards models like citizen assemblies or community-driven policy development.
Exactly. The lineage of this disillusionment points to a need for a new civic architecture. The who carries it next are the local activists and community organizers pushing for these engagement models, ensuring policy isn't just handed down but built up, making the lesson planner approach a vital tool for renewed democratic health.
From political upheaval to demographic shifts, let's turn our gaze to Japan, where we see stepping up, not aside, Japan's retirement age tour guides.
This trend exposes a fascinating intersection of Japan's aging demographics, with over 29% of its population aged 65 or older, and its strategic efforts to boost the tourism economy, which is projected to reach $5 trillion annually. These senior guides, often in their 70s and 80s, are filling critical labor gaps, particularly in cultural hubs like Kyoto and Tokyo. The consequence is a redefinition of productive aging, challenging traditional corporate retirement policies. An alternative could be government-subsidized reskilling programs focusing on digital literacy for seniors to access remote work opportunities. However, the current move is clearly embracing the senior guide model.
This isn't just about labor shortages, it's a powerful cultural reframing of purpose and dignity. Japan's concept of ikigai, a reason for being, is visibly manifest as these elders share their deep historical knowledge, transforming what could be perceived as toxic residue of an aging workforce into an architectural signal of invaluable experience. The lineage here connects to a long-standing reverence for elder wisdom.
The system here bends the traditional rules of retirement, revealing a better model for intergenerational contribution. We could design skill-sharing micro-guilds, where younger guides learn traditional narratives directly from these experienced seniors, creating a resilient, evolving civic architecture for knowledge transfer. This turns a demographic challenge into a playable, collaborative opportunity for both economic growth and social cohesion.
Let's bring in the generational bridge. What's your question on this? Callers on. Go ahead.
Is this just a band-aid for labor shortages, or a real shift in valuing experience and keeping people engaged? Who benefits most from this new model?
Excellent question. Generational bridge. It's certainly a practical response to labor needs, but the deeper architectural signal is about valuing active engagement and purpose over passive retirement. The chosen next move, based on Lex's analysis, is for Japan to actively support and formalize these flexible senior employment models, potentially through policy incentives and training, ensuring both economic benefit and personal fulfillment.
Exactly. This policy support would involve expanding age-friendly employment laws, potentially offering tax incentives for businesses that hire senior workers, and creating platforms that connect experienced individuals with roles in the service economy. The economic benefit is clear: retaining institutional knowledge and boosting local economies.
The who carries it next are the communities themselves, fostering these elder wisdom networks and intergenerational mentorship programs. This shift ensures the dignity of experience is not just acknowledged, but structurally integrated into the fabric of daily life, building resilient civic architectures for the future.
Agency.
Black Star Pirate Radio.
Continue the signal at TogeeVision.com. Tune in, Sparks and Stories, Gig Passport.